dude.
Dude, I know, man. I can't believe they did a live action Cowboy Bebop on Netflix. Like, what were they fucking thinking?
I know.
What do you think about that? You like anime, right?
Yeah, I like anime.
Do you care about that show at all?
Well, I mean, there are shows that, like, you can't like anime if you don't like this show, right?
And Cowboy Bebop's one of them, right? Because that's one of
Bebop's one of them.
Yeah, I don't know many animes, and that's one of the ones I've heard the most.
Like, the thing with anime is that, like, that was one of the first anime that made anime look cool, right?
That fucking music, man. That's the most I know about it.
The ba-da-ba-da-da-da-da-da, how it's always 3 times louder than any of the other audio on the TV.
That composer, whoever composed that music, I've heard like his other music, and it's awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah, dude, he writes like crazy jazz shit, and it's really fun to listen to.
I might have to check that out, man. I love that song. And I don't usually get into jazz, but like, no, like Cowboy Bebop is a complete staple. Like, any anime fan worth their salt has watched it, you know? And like it's just a cool anime when all the other anime previously was like nerdy Gundam or
right,
like, I don't know, Naruto or Sailor Moon or something.
But then there's a bunch of anime from the 80s that there's like horror anime movies and stuff, like really gritty, hardcore, fucking crazy shit that there's some channel on YouTube that does like top 10 underrated horror anime movies or whatever, and some of the shit I saw in those clips looks insane.
I mean, I don't think it comes to a surprise to anybody that Japan is like one of the best in making any horror anything.
Seriously, like next level.
Like, because how do you make things like The Ring, you know? How do you make things like, I mean, Junji Ito's entire, like, discography of manga?
Yeah.
Right? Like, surely you've seen some of that.
Probably, and I probably don't know I have.
It's like, you know, the, like, It's Me size. You know about that?
No.
Or, in any case, he's like, he's a very famous, like, horror manga artist, and like his drawings are just so grotesque it like puts a pit in your stomach. And you just don't see stuff like that in any American media. I mean, we're getting better about
make it over here. Like, even that type of, you know, that anime or that manga, like, doesn't seem like it's nearly as popular as it should be here.
No, well, I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know if I'd recommend it. Like, it's pretty disturbing. Like,
dude, like Battle Royale, that fucking...
Oh, yeah, right. Battle
so
Royale,
brutal.
Which I assume was, like, a big inspiration for the Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah, 100%, yeah. I read the book, I didn't read the manga, and the book, like, even without illustrations, was brutal.
Yeah, it's brutal, and this is... I mean, this is a Korean production, but Squid Game, right, is like also a death game.
Loved it.
And death games have been a thing for a long time in at least Japan, as far as I've known. Like, it's been...
Death game? Like stuff like Battle Royale?
Stuff like, you know, Battle Royale and Squid Game, and there's a thing where, like... It's a bit hard to describe, but it's like you play these quote-unquote games to survive, right? And it's like it's basically a whole genre within itself. And I'm surprised that it's only just now getting popular. Like, did you watch Escape Room?
I did.
It's kind of like that if the ending wasn't bullshit.
Right. That movie was awful.
But I don't know where I was going with that. I like anime.
That's cool, man. Yeah, dude, it's cool that it can get brutal. Dude, there was a question I actually wanted to ask you, because I know LeBron James is your boy.
Man.
I know he's your boy.
There's a lot of conflicting feelings with me and LeBron.
Did you see?
Me and LeBron have been on shaky terms.
You guys aren't talking right now?
I mean, we're talking, but it's not always great.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You're kind of short with him. Mm-hmm. Well, did you see his fight that he almost got into the other day against the Pistons?
No.
Dude, there was a guy on the Pistons that was furious with LeBron, and to the point where he was legit trying to, there's like 30 people on the court trying to separate them, and and the whole time you're thinking, dude, you're not gonna fucking fight. Like, can we stop acting, please? We all know you guys aren't gonna start swinging at each other. Like, enough. Like, just go sit down. And I was thinking that watching this video of him, he's being held back and he's talking all this shit, and LeBron's talking all this shit, and Russell Westbrook is over there with like his hands already up, like ready to go, even though there's 50 people in between him and the other guy. And I thought it was the same. I thought this dude was full of shit, that he was just trying to play tough or whatever. And then there was a moment where he tries to run around everyone to get to LeBron. Like he like tried to like dart around everyone, and then everyone had to stop him. He runs back around and pushes some dude over, like not like almost tackles a guy.
Jeez.
And then he runs into the tunnel like after LeBron to like go fight him in the locker room, I guess. This dude was pissed, and I thought it was all bullshit until I saw what happened, and I did not blame him at all for being pissed.
What happened?
He was next to LeBron. They were lined up during a foul shot, right? So, or free throw. So yeah. They're getting ready to, how the dudes kind of like put their arms in front of each other to get the rebound. I guess this guy was a little too much on LeBron, and it seemed like LeBron got upset, and LeBron, like, with his fucking like forearm bone, just hits the dude in the nose and the eyebrow. Like, what? Swings his arm around super hard, obviously trying to make it seem like, oh, I was just
I'm just playing. I've only been playing in NBA for 20 years.
For 20 solid years. Yeah, no, he fucking jacked this dude and hit him so hard in the face. And the guy was, while the guy is yelling and trying to get to LeBron, he's bleeding like profusely from his eye.
Jeez.
And yeah, LeBron fucking jacked him up, and the guy got pissed, and that was the first time that I've seen in the history of me watching basketball. Oh yeah, he actually did want to fight.
That's so weird to me, because basketball is a contact sport.
Dude, it absolutely is, and I feel like all sports should be contact sports.
Baseball, there should be more tackling.
Yeah, why don't they allow people to just fight like in hockey? Just let them fight, get it out of their system. It makes the game more entertaining.
But like, if you're LeBron and you've been in the game for so long, you're like a living legend in this sport.
Yeah.
Did that really piss you off so much that you had to do something about it? Have you not gone through this song and dance 1,100 times before?
Yeah, think about him, but LeBron has always bitched when he doesn't get a foul called. LeBron's kind of a baby, and I would not be surprised if he was like, who are you to be all over me like that? Like, fuck you, boom, and just hits him,
Look, when you are the lead role in Space Jam, you probably get a big ego, right?
Yeah, not Michael Jackson, not Michael Jordan.
No, surely not Michael Jackson.
Neither Michael Jackson nor Michael Jordan had big egos, so I think LeBron needs to take it down a peg or two.
But you know what? Like, I'm done with I'm done with LeBron. LeBron is done with us. Us being the Cavaliers.
Yep. He did what he had to do. Now all you guys can get off his fucking back.
I always kind of felt sorry for LeBron, because when he was like when he got in the Cavs and he was really shining, we did not have the team to back him up, and that was shown when he went to the Heat and
won 3 championships in a row.
Right, and our team had like 3 losing seasons in a row.
Yeah, dude. If you guys
we went from NBA Finals to a losing season because of one player.
Yeah, if you guys had an actual team around him when he was at his peak like that,
it could have been one of the greatest teams of all time.
He would have been there for 10 years. It would have been a Celtics situation.
And
where you
so
win 10 championships in 8 years somehow.
At that time, I was like, I'm kind of glad he went to the Heat because now he can finally get some championships. I'm more mad that he came back, honestly.
Why?
And that because like
he burned his jersey and he had to go buy another one.
Because he was like, all right, I got my 3 championships. Now I can go back to this little team.
Yeah, now I can go. And he still had to
go help these little guys. I can be their hero.
But think about it though. When he was on the Heat, he had Shaq and Dwayne Wade.
What an insane team that was.
Right.
I didn't think Shaq was still around when he went to the Heat.
Dude, Shaq was still great at that time too. Like obviously past his prime,
sure.
but yeah, he was still really good. And then like I think he had just gone there from the Lakers. And then and then LeBron comes back to Cleveland and you think, okay, he's come back, he's seasoned, he's won 3 championships, he's going to take this team to the championship, and then he just kept complaining, I don't have enough good people around me. I need a star point guard, I need a star center, I need a star, shooting guard, and it's at that point you realize maybe LeBron, I mean obviously he's amazing, right? Like I'm not trying to diminish what he's done.
I mean, he's
but
literally
he
one of the best
a lot of people around him.
I mean, the thing with LeBron that I've always really appreciated about him is that he is a team player. He would have
he wants
like
everyone to produce.
He would have like the most assists, the most passes in a game. He would have, he wasn't really a solo artist.
Right? I don't think he ever wanted to be the man.
Yeah, but like he's too good. He did not have the team to back him up in Cleveland before the Heat. He didn't have the team afterwards.
Right.
Even though I think we did win 1 championship with him after the Heat.
Mm-hmm.
And then he like went to the Lakers or something. I don't know. I kind of lost track.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's like after James Harden left the Rockets, I haven't really watched a Rockets game.
I mean, it was just so nice for a little bit for a Cleveland team to be on top.
It's the same with Houston, man. I haven't experienced that since '94. And I was just so glad to finally be a contender. And we just, for years and years and years, we kept going to the, semifinals or quarterfinals or whatever and just disappointing me every year.
You would literally watch those games during our band practices.
Yeah. Right? Remember? I would have it on my phone, just on my amp.
You would stream it at Luis's house, and like in between songs, you would like turn it on.
Yeah, I remember putting it on his TV one time and standing in the doorway, like playing along and singing, but watching the game. Oh my god, I forgot about that,
dude. So funny.
Well,
I was like, at the time, I was probably pretty pissed, but like, I don't know. It's like really funny looking back.
Well, what's funny to me even is I had no idea you were pissed.
I mean, I don't know. How could I not be when we come to practice and like you're like, all right, guys, like I love you guys, like, and you're my band and you're my priority, but there is this basketball game on.
Dude, you know how many fucking Rockets games were on Mondays and Wednesdays for some reason? I started missing all of them at one point, and I was just like, dude, I can stream this on my phone. I can put it on the amp, and we didn't have a mic, so I didn't have to really sing. For 3 fucking years, we didn't have a mic.
And even when we did, half the time it would shock you, so like we just didn't use it.
That was so infuriating.
I was never actually mad at you. I was just like a little frustrated at times.
That's so funny, dude. I didn't pick up on that at all. And I thought I'm good at that. Like I thought I was good at picking up energies. But also I would get fucking blazed.
That's true as well. But
yeah.
You played good.
I play good. I play good when I'm stoned.
You play hard, you work hard, you smoke hard.
I think I play better when I'm stoned. I get it a little loose. It's like Michael before a show. Like he drinks a beer and takes a shot of tequila, and then he's like fucking good to go.
Right.
That's my beer in a shot. Is a bowl. But I mean, on that note, smoking definitely helped with this album that we're going to talk about today.
Really?
It helped a lot.
Oh boy.
So,
oh man.
So on that note,
I'm gonna tell you. What's up, guys? What's up, buddy?
I was drinking water.
Podcast where you can drink. You know what? You go ahead, bud. I'll let you have it.
No, I just wanted to participate, and you started too early.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to keep you on your fucking toes.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
What's up, Buzz? Welcome to the Earbuds Podcast. We are the odd couple of podcasts, pod couple of vodcasts. Lucas, Brett, very good albums, very good time, very good friends.
In that order.
And look, I know the rumors have been going around. We're just friends.
Yeah, I mean, even though Brett called me the love of his life on one episode, he meant friend love.
Friend love.
The love of his friend life.
I know there have been a lot of photos leaked of us holding hands down Main Street.
Yeah.
But that was someone else.
That was, yeah, and if it was us, let's just say it was. Let's just
like make up a world where it was us.
Yeah, let's pretend, let's act for once. I mean, what if our hands were cold?
Yeah, right? And like you forgot your mittens at the apartment.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, can I keep my hand in your back pocket of your pants? My hands are cold. And you were like, why not just put them under my hoodie? And I was like, good idea. And I just walked backwards, and I had my hands under your hoodie. Like, big deal.
The old Texas hook'em.
The old hook'em horns.
The old hook'em horns, we call that.
You know, I don't know. I don't know why everyone's being so weird about it, but whatever. They can, TikTok can say whatever they want, Brett. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it.
Yeah, and look, like here's where we say what we want, Lucas, and what we want is to talk about an objectively fantastic album, no matter.
No bias coming from either of us.
This is an album that I brought. This album's called The Physical World by Death from Above 1979. I am a little scared.
Are you concerned? Are you hearing a tone?
I'm kind of hearing a tone. I'm hearing a little bit of a tone.
Well, I got a tone bone listening to this record, so
okay. That's good.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's gonna keep it from a 1.
It's definitely lifting it up from a 1.
Let's see if we can get to a 2 or a 3.
Well, let's talk it out, man, because I wanted to know what you love so much about this record.
Oh boy. Well, I was the age of 15 when I saw Death from Above 1979 on the pamphlet for ACL that my friend gave me because he went to ACL and I couldn't.
Oh, and you were like, that's a cool band name.
Yes. I actually I don't remember when this was, but it was in middle school. I learned about the Arctic Monkeys through this pamphlet. They used to have these crazy detailed pamphlets for ACL with every band, like pictures, biographies, like best hit songs. And I believe it was on this pamphlet that I learned from Death from Above 1979, which was just a crazy punk bass and drum duo.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with drum and bass duo. That's a completely different thing.
Yeah, this is definitely bass and drum. In that order.
I checked them out. They're definitely a vibe. Mm-hmm. And then all these years later, they reunited after a hiatus. They released this and other albums up till 2020 so far.
Yeah, for sure. They're still doing it. Dude, I can't believe they broke up for 5 years.
And
then got back together and wrote this record.
Yeah, like...
That's crazy.
I think they formed around 2001 or 2002.
Right. Their first album came out in 2006.
Yeah, their first EP was like 2003 or 4, and their second album was 2014.
Yeah.
So it's like, what? That's a long amount of time.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. They released an album in 2004 and broke up 2 years later.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, they were broken up. I mean, to be broken up for 5 years, and then come back together and write an album this cohesive, and it sounds like they it sounds like they just went right back to where they were before after 5 years. I mean, you got to think that maybe they weren't even talking during those 5 years. You know, like who knows?
I've heard through YouTube comments that they actually kind of hated each other's guts for a bit.
I mean, they said that they split up due to creative differences and musical style differences, but then he said it was due to disagreements on many levels. So this could have been, maybe whatever direction one of them wanted to take, and the other one was, didn't agree, or.
Yeah, well, if this was one of their directions, I could see why the other wouldn't like it, because it's a wholly different vibe from the album they released before.
I was going to ask, man. I didn't have the time to dive into their first record. What does their first album sound like?
Their first album is very punk, very fuzzy. You can really barely hear the change in bass notes. The singer is always super fuzzed out.
Yeah.
And it's they were a punk band, and then they released this album, and it definitely seemed like they wanted to be more in the mainstream, because to me at least, this is a super catchy album with
super dancey.
There's a lot of, it definitely has that punk attitude, but
for sure.
But it's much more cleaned up from their previous records. And
wow. Yeah, I heard that they were described as noise punk, and when I was listening to this, I definitely hear the punk, sensibilities in there. And there's even sometimes where the drummer is playing a punk beat or whatever. But man, listen to this. I've heard this record before, like before we decided to talk about it on the pod. Like I at least heard at least half of it, and I forgot how dancey this record was.
Yes, it is. It is very dancey. It's like, yeah, a lot of the songs are just at a tempo where you kind of can both mosh or dance along, just depending on your sensibilities, which I've always been a fan of.
Yeah, they have a really interesting sound to their music, and I can't say that I know any other bands that sound anywhere near what Death from Above sounds like. Like that, having that combination of bass and drums, and the bassist will play keyboard sometimes or synth sometimes or whatever, but really at its core, it's two instruments, and it's a heavily fuzzy, distorted bass. And he's not playing bass riffs; he's playing guitar riffs on a bass.
Yeah, it's like I was thinking about Gym Class Heroes while listening to this album, and how different the guitarist played, like how unique the guitarist played his guitar on like things like the Papercut Chronicles.
Right, he was almost like a keyboardist at that point.
Yeah. It was like such a different genre, and in this situation, when it's a two-piece and you only have like one melodic instrument, you got to cover a lot of bases. The bass, when a bass is distorted, it kind of sounds like a guitar, but it also covers the bass section that a guitar would lack.
It is the beefiest distorted guitar you've ever heard. And I loved the bass tones on the whole record.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Super chunky.
Chunky and juicy and dirty and gritty. And it is such a smart idea. It's so smart to come up with that idea of just distorting a 4-string bass and playing single note riffs. And if it's fuzzy enough, it sounds like a power chord. And his riffs are fucking killer.
They're killer, man. I found the best riffs kind of have this dynamic between the low tones and the high tones, right? And like, it's very dynamic. Those are my favorite riffs.
Yeah, for sure. There are a lot where he's playing on the two high strings, even high up on the neck, So it does sound more like what maybe like a 7-string guitar could play, maybe.
Yeah, right.
But when he goes low and they get that heavy crunch going, which doesn't happen enough on this record, but when they do it, man, I
Well,
love
you
it.
might like their last records then.
The latest one.
No, their previous ones.
Yeah, so that's what I think. I think I should listen to their first album. I might dig it more because, again, dude, like the bass's riffs are killer. They're so fucking good, and I recognize that, and I love all of them.
Well, look, let's just get past the bullshit, okay? Tell me.
Can we stop?
Tell me.
Can we stop putting on airs here? All right.
I just want to stop. You're shooting out hot air. You've been shooting out hot air this whole podcast.
Blowing smoke up your ass. They blend in.
I just want to know your god honest feelings about this record.
The riffs are great, but they blend in a lot. Like I can't say that I remember any of them.
Sure. Yeah,
You
I
know?
think that's fair. I've always been conflicted with bands like Royal Blood, Death from Above,
Yes.
1979. There's like one other.
Ben Folds.
Ben Folds.
Yeah.
With bands that have a kind of limited instrumentation like this, and they do use like synths and keyboards and stuff, but
Right.
the bass is definitely the main kind of prioritized instrument. It's really hard to kind of keep it fresh.
It is, man. He definitely has a motif, you know? Like it sounds like he writes a specific type of riff. And again, that's not to say that any of them are bad because I loved all of them, but it just started to get kind of repetitive a little bit when we started getting to Trainwreck, right around Trainwreck and Nothing Left. Those two songs, I was starting to lose steam every time I listened to the record. I would be on it pretty much with every song, pretty much until it got to like the middle of the record and it just started to feel, man, this is starting to get kind of like a little old for me.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that. I brought in for your other kind of sub podcast thing.
Yeah, for Choice Nugs Radio.
For Choice Nugs Radio, I brought in Right On Frankenstein, if I remember correctly.
Yes, great song.
And I think that these songs outside of the record would probably work best. Inside of the record, I could understand how you would like how all songs would blend together, and it's all kind of the same because they're kind of using the same tricks in each song.
They are. They are using the same tricks. And the drummer, I recognize is talented, but I don't think there was anything that he did on this record. I don't think there was one moment that I went, "Ooh, that was cool." From the drummer.
Well, I can, you know what? I agree, but I'm not going to hold that against him because he is also the singer.
Right. Great voice, right?
And he has a great voice, and I think that if you can't pull out the best drum parts you can as well as the best vocal parts you can, then maybe you shouldn't be the singer. And especially when they play live, he cannot deliver the same way he does on record.
It's hard, man, because even though he's not doing anything especially impressive or exciting on the drums, he's still playing his fucking ass off on every single song.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a hot opinion to say that drums are the most active instrument in a band usually, right?
Right, unless you're doing something wrong on one of the other instruments, then yeah, the drums should be the most active. But I have seen them live, and they were pretty good.
Yeah, I don't like every video I've seen kind of disappointed me. It might be because like on this album there's a lot of like backup vocals that kind of help out the main vocals, and there are some synths that they can't really get to with two people.
True. And the synth is used very well on the record. It's very sparing, but every time it happened I liked it, you know. But live, I thought they were pretty good, man. It was pretty fucking raucous. It was super loud. I remember walking into the place and thinking, who the fuck is playing right now? Like, this sounds insane. Like, it sounded so heavy and so loud. And then I turned the corner and I was like, oh shit, I didn't know Death from Above was playing tonight. Like that was a really nice surprise. And they were great. I thought they were awesome live. I saw them at Circuit of the Americas in Austin.
Really?
They opened for
What did that happen?
Yeah, they opened for Incubus and Deftones. They were touring with Incubus and Deftones. It was a great night. It was a great show.
Shit, man, why didn't you bring me?
I have no idea why no one else. I mean, I went with 2 other friends, but this might have even been before Mortalis for all I know.
That's a kick-ass show right there.
It was awesome. Deftones
in any
are
case.
Yeah, anyways.
We'll get to Deftones on the Deftones record, okay?
Well, yeah, I'm sure that's the album that Erin will pick when she's on. But yeah, man, and again, like you said, the singer is great. He has a good voice. It works perfectly for this music. But it was the same thing as the bass. All the songs are pretty catchy. They're all catchy. They all have sing-along moments, and they're all they have great rhythm. But it was just like the bass. The singer, his melodies were good, but I can't remember many of them, and they all just blended in together.
Yeah, they definitely have this set amount of things they can do. The vocalist has every single song to me is like super catchy. It's kind of catchy in the same way though.
Exactly.
Right. But also, I didn't know this was the fucking Hypocrite podcast, Mr. Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats.
What about it? What about them? Well, I don't understand where you're getting at.
It's all perspective. On that episode, I was saying like basically the exact same things you were, right?
Yeah.
That like all the songs were kind of blending in.
Yep.
And it was all kind of the same thing. You were like, nah, dude, like that's.
But do you have the same experience with this album too, where the songs all blend in, or can I say the name Virgins and you know exactly what that song sounds like?
I mean, maybe it's just because I've listened to it so much.
Maybe so, yeah.
But like, I love every single one of these songs on this record, man, and it's always a treat for me to listen through this album, just because I think every song has these killer riffs, these killer vocal melodies, and even if the drums aren't doing too much, they usually fill out the rest of the space that the bass can't.
Right? Yeah, dude, he's really loud as a drummer. I mean, but
if nothing else.
Thankfully, what I like is that the bass is front and center, and it really is. I mean, if it wasn't for the bass and the bassist, this album wouldn't be anything.
Yeah,
that dude is a genius. Like the way that he gets that tone and the riffs that he writes on a bass guitar, I think are really, I mean, really, really impressive. And that's an understatement.
You need to be something of a master of your instrument to kind of even think of riffs like this. That being said, I think Royal Blood has done a better job of evolving their sound and keeping it more fresh with their later albums. I don't know if you've listened to
I think I've only listened to
Where Are You
record.
Now?
No, I've only listened to their first record, so I don't know where they went from there, but I really liked it.
Yeah, their first record was great.
Yeah.
But I think on their second record, which I'm looking up now, which is How Did We Get So Dark, they utilized a lot of different effects, to say the least. My buddy Lily and I saw him live, and just the pedal setup, the amount of effects that he has on the bass to kind of like keep it fresh is absolutely insane. I don't know how one person keeps track of all that stuff.
That's what you got to do, man. Honestly, think like the White Stripes, you know.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like,
idea.
Jack White is literally like a genius, so it's kind of hard to
So is Meg White.
All right, you know what? You're kind of finding a way to push all my buttons right now. You're finding all my buttons and you're kind of pushing them right now.
Dude, that's the worst part about getting to know each other for so long is I know exactly how to get to you.
You know what name to bring up.
I just get your blood boiling.
I mean, have we talked about on the podcast before about the Meg White video I made?
I've talked about that with you. I think like several times. If not one of them was on the podcast, I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so many more people defend Meg White than I thought would. I honestly thought it was a defunct topic that I needed to get off my chest. Everyone loves Meg White. It was on my chest.
Yeah.
And I had to get it off. Meg White is one of the most overrated musicians in music history. That's my stance. If you want to hear more about it, go to the video.
Yeah, find it on YouTube. We don't need to go down this rabbit hole, okay?
No.
We can talk about that on the Two Drummers episode, where we can just talk about for 45 minutes about how two drummers are.
My buttons. My buttons are getting pushed right now.
I gotta ask. White, do you like the song "White is Red"?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there's not a song I don't like on this album, man. I love every one of these songs. But apparently, you've picked your spoiled nug.
Yeah, this nug is gone bad. But what I liked about "White is Red" is that it was the first time they changed the vibe on the record.
Yeah, they kind of tried to do a little more of what you would hear a guitarist do on a slower song.
For sure. It almost sounded weirdly like a 80s prom song, but one written by Death from Above.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy about their name, too.
Yeah, there's the whole history behind that.
Yeah. Do you want to tell it?
I mean, it's they started off as Death from Above. Right. And when they were finally getting some attention, there was another band called Death from Above that was getting on, and so they had to. They were like, I don't know, 1979. Whenever.
Okay, that's close. You're close. So
because that's when that train wreck happened, right?
Right. So what happened was that the singer of LCD Sound System, James Murphy, he had a record label called Death from Above Records.
Really?
Yes. He probably still has it, for all I know. But he sent a cease and desist letter to the band.
Wow.
Because they had the same name. And that was in 2004. So they changed it to 1979 because that's the legal minimum number of numerals required to keep the first part of the name. It's like you can use Death from Above, but you have to put 4 numbers at the end of it for it to become your own thing. Like they can't do Death from Above 2, you know?
I'd never gotten that deep into the origins of that name.
I thought it was a really interesting story. And what's crazy to me is because halfway through this record, I wrote down, this sounds like an LCD Sound System album with distorted guitar at times because it's so dancey. You know what I mean?
If we're getting to buttons right now.
Do you hate LCD Sound System?
No, I don't hate LCD Sound System. I guess I just don't understand it. I've tried listening to a couple albums and it just sounds like a 50-year-old dude trying to get into dance music and like failing miserably.
Ooh, well the last part is harsh, but the first part is pretty accurate. He was a 50-year-old, a 45-year-old dude who started wanting to write dance music. And yeah, he started late. But you're right. I mean, it's older dude music for sure, but I love LCD Sound System. And there were just moments in this album just because it's so dancey that, especially the first track, that I thought, man, this kind of sounds like LCD Sound System, but if they had distorted guitar and decided that they wanted to be fucking rock and roll for a night. And then I go into their history and I see that there's some involvement that they've had with LCD Sound System in a roundabout way, and that fucking tripped me out.
Yeah, that's super weird.
So random, so weird. But I mean, let's get into Choice Nugs.
Yeah, let's get into Choice Nugs, man. You go first.
Me first. Well, I picked the song that you shared with me on Choice Nugs Radio, man. Right on Frankenstein.
Right on Frankenstein. That is my first nug as well.
You too? I assumed it would be because that's the one song of theirs that you brought onto the other podcast.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, I love the punk energy on that song, man.
Oh, yeah. It's got that forward driving momentum in the verses. It's got those vocals that are just like so cool. It has that returning. It's one of those songs that, like, I don't know what to call these things, but that have like 2 to 3 separate choruses on it.
What do you mean, like slight variations?
Like, a chorus to me is like the main part of the song, the catchiest part of the song, the part that you want everyone to remember.
Yeah, the part is like, oh my life, the same old song, just a different tune.
But yeah, and that's the real chorus. But I always thought, I don't want to die, but I want to be buried. Meet me at the gates of the cemetery. It's like equally as catchy and iconic, and I literally can't help but sing along with it every single time it happens.
It's so catchy. And then they have that, like, before going to the second verse, they have that like weird high vocal part.
That might be like my favorite part on the entire album.
I love it. I think it's the best lyrics on the album too. Oh
yeah, it's just like super, and we didn't really get into lyrics very much. I think they're fine.
I think they're pretty good for the most part.
Yeah, they're pretty good for the most part. It's nothing I like connected personally to or anything. I don't think it's anything extraordinary, but it's definitely.
I think there's a lot of cool lines.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's honestly, man, my focus is on the bass the entire record. Yeah. So the lyrics don't really stand out to me, except on Right on Frankenstein. It has such cool lyrics.
And the bass on this song.
And then that fucking like. Yeah,
that kind of outro at the very end.
Yeah, they completely changed the song in the last minute and a half.
And it like does not stick around a lot. It's that thing that you love. I know about you, where you want more of it. It leaves you wanting more.
Because it's so catchy too. Right on Frankenstein. It's almost like it's almost like what would be the heavy part on a Newfound Glory song.
Yeah,
is what this part sounds like. It's so pop punk to me, and it's out of nowhere. And again, killer fucking riff from. Man, I need to know their names. I keep saying the bassist and the drummer. I should say their fucking names. So the bassist Jesse. I thought that ending of Right on Frankenstein, that is so original, and the drums that are going with it that are like kind of half beat,
Yeah, they go halftime and like just smash along with it.
A huge kick drum, like massive kick drum, just smashing along with it, and then that final melody, the Right on Frankenstein, like it's so catchy. Probably the catchiest song on the record for me too. So
I would say so.
Yeah, dude,
for sure.
Yeah, Right on Frankenstein.
That's one of the main reasons I brought it onto Choice Nugs. I was looking at a lot of the songs on this record.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Right on Frankenstein. I love that song so much. It's so catchy. I knew you would like at least find something in it.
I love it. But you did me a disservice with it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because you set an expectation for what the rest of this album was going to sound like.
The rest of this album is on fucking par with this, sir.
It is not the same energy.
It is fucking clutch, sir.
It's not the. It's just not the same energy as Right on Frankenstein. Right on Frankenstein has the most punk, like driving rhythm, and that ending was just okay. These guys are gonna be flipping the switch on me all the time.
That is definitely they didn't really flip the switch on any songs too much.
Nah.
You know, they kind of kept it one thing the whole time, and maybe deviated slightly one way or another.
Yeah, they deviated less than my septum.
What is your second nug?
I mean, to be fair, my septum's deviated as fuck. Well, my honorable mentions before I get into that are Always On.
All right, yeah.
There was definitely it's not like the song like was really really cool for me as like the whole thing, but there's a moment like 45 seconds in, like the
yeah,
like,
I love that part.
Man, I love that part. Yeah, and Physical World I thought was the heaviest song on the record, the closing track. Are there horns on that? I loved the horns. I think were on there. Awesome double bass fucking drum part. Like the one cool drum part that he did is in the last song.
I mean, the thing is, like, I think this guy's got the chops.
He definitely does.
But he understands that he's a singer, and you can't be doing such crazy stuff and singing at the same time.
Right.
So I think he's holding back.
He's got to be loud, but he can't be super. Yeah, like you said, he can't be fucking playing on the toms and going back and forth. It's not like he can be RX Bandits and play, and sing at the same time. But
Yeah.
Physical World is a fucking. I love that song. It's a great song. But my other choice nug is Government Trash.
Government Trash.
Dude, probably one of the best riffs on the record.
Yeah, you definitely like the harder songs on this record.
Exactly. I don't dig the dancier songs, but the heavy stuff, which is to me, Government Trash, Ride on Frankenstein, and Physical World are the heaviest ones, and I fucking love those songs.
Man, I wish there was a good blend for you. You might not like any albums by Death from Above, because the album before this was definitely a lot harder, but the production, the mix was like super fuzzy.
It's a lot gnarlier.
You can really, it does not hold a candle to like the production on this one.
Which is fucking great. The guy who produced this produced like 9 Inch Nails and a bunch of other people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the Government Trash, I mean, those, like, Tone Bone. I had Tone Bone this whole record. Everything sounds good. And
Which is crazy because there's like 3 to 4 instruments max on each song.
Yeah, and to think, too, that, you can get such good tones on a really, really fuzzy bass guitar and almost distorted vocals the whole time, and the drums are just loud as shit. And
yeah.
I felt like Government Trash just had that. Dude, that part in like at like 2 minutes in where it's like and the drums are he's doing double bass and just man, that was the part that I switched it from from originally it was gonna be Cheap Talk and Ride on Frankenstein, and I fucking switched it from Cheap Talk and put it on Government Trash after that. I'm like, that just made it for me right there.
Yeah.
And his screaming, he's fucking screaming on it. Right at the very end. I'm like,
yeah,
man.
right, yeah. So cool, dude.
So cool. That song, that energy is just pissed off, and the song is so pissed, and I love it. Especially today, man. It was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect to listen to today.
That's what you needed.
That's exactly what I needed. It was the one that, like, because I was half working while I was listening to this record right before we jumped on, just to listen to it one more time, But man, when Government Trash came on, I was like fucking typing emails super fast. Just like, just let it. It was a release, man.
Ugh.
So I have. Can I guess what your second choice nug is?
Yeah, you can try.
I mean, that's what I'm doing.
I mean, if you got the fucking balls.
Yeah, you can try, I guess. I'm gonna try, and it's between two for me. It's either Crystal Ball or Cheap Talk, and I think was it either?
I mean, you got my honorable mentions, dude.
Oh man. So
My
is it Physical World?
my honorable mentions are Cheap Talk, Virgins, Always On, Crystal Ball, White is Red, Trainwreck, 1979, Nothing Left, Government Trash, and Gemini.
So all of the songs are honorable mentions for you.
Well, no, Physical World is the other nug.
Yeah, I got that. I put that together. Oh, dude, Physical World is a great song.
It starts off with this weird synth. I assume it's a synth, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And just like I love the rhythm of the verses, where it kind of has these select hits, and the bass, the drums, and the vocals all hit it at the very same time. And the synth just kind of comes back, and then they get into a more driving force.
Yeah.
Later on through the verses, and then they have that whole like outro with that almost like metal sounding riff at the end, right?
Dude, this whole song sounds metal. This whole song is metal as fuck, dude. That verse riff, bow, 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 like it is so heavy. This is by far the heaviest song on the record.
Yeah, it's like very, yeah, it's very like. I don't think sludgy is the right word for it.
It's only sludgy because it's a bass guitar.
I mean, yeah, it's all kind of sludgy.
And it's fuzzy as hell, but it's so heavy. And I love that he doesn't usually go low on the verses or on the choruses, but he's playing do 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 like on the verses, and they have I think there's horns. I'm pretty sure there's horns during the choruses.
I don't know about that, man.
Don't you hear that bow, bow, bow?
I'm kind of trying to get through this song here.
Yeah, to give it a listen. But dude, man, the bass or the verses, man, just that bass riff is just so mean. And I love, like, I think it was something like maybe 2 minutes in, he plays this badass double bass part.
Yeah, right.
Like at 2:15 or something. Like, right? Or is that toms?
It might be a combination of the toms and the kick to make it seem like it's a double kick.
It sounds like a stampede. It's like
in any case, it's dope.
So fucking cool, so heavy. Yeah, man,
yeah.
It's pretty obvious that I didn't like the dancier songs that much. But again, man, this is you're just adding to the lore of Brett Hanrahan, because I'm pegging you as a fucking dance fan, man, and it's not one that I knew until we started this podcast. That is something I did not know about you.
Look, man, before the podcast, we were talking about being more true to ourselves. We were talking about the kind of, I don't want to use this term because it's kind of gotten, but like the toxic masculinity, for lack of a better term, right?
Sure, yeah.
I love dancing, you know?
You like dancing?
I love dancing, and I love music that has emotion and forward momentum, and
you like
that you
energy,
can either
man.
mosh or dance to.
Yeah, I'm realizing that about you for sure, is that you like music with energy.
Yes,
And,
for sure.
But do you actually dance? Because I mean, I do just fucking around, you know, but I've wanted to take dance classes because I feel like I'm not in tune with my body. Like, I feel like I'm not in touch with my body, and I feel like that is what dancing does for you.
I mean, yeah, man. I'm not sure if I would call it dancing. Whatever it is I do.
Yeah, whatever I do is not dancing. But I dance.
You know, there's some moves that I feel get out what I need to get out.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's the thing that I don't do. I get so stiff when I dance because I'm so self-conscious because I don't know how to dance. But I will say I think in my life, throughout the course of my life, maybe 5 times I have honestly danced. You know, where like I let it out. I just did whatever felt good. You know?
Yeah.
And
right.
I would say probably at least 2 times when I did that, I teared up. Like while I was dancing, like I got emotional. And
yeah, it's a very emotional thing to kind of let
yourself just let it loose, you know?
It might be a little hippie to say, but like to kind of try to match your body to what your emotions are feeling, right?
Yeah, like those people that even like mad dance, you know, that they put on some music and they just punch the air for like 30 minutes and it's just is this release for them, you know? I think that's what music was for me. Writing music was that release, you know, and I just haven't written anything in a long time, but my whole life writing music was therapy for me. It would get it out. It would get it out and also give me something else to focus on for hours, you know? And then it was like this mood I was in, this thing that was making me sad or upset. 3 hours later is now a song that I'm super happy about, you know, that I'm super proud of and stuff. So it literally, you know, in the course of a day, writing a song about whatever I was feeling, like at the end of it, man, I felt amazing. Cause then my mood went from whatever to proud and psyched that I wrote a song that I'm like excited to show the band, you know, or excited to show my friends or play live or whatever. And it's a release, man. So I feel like dancing, if I ever honestly danced, it would be, what if I'm a dancer, Brett?
Well,
what if I'm supposed to be a dancer?
You gotta dance, Lucas.
I feel like I gotta dance, man. We were talking before we started recording about like, you know, I still don't know what I really want to do with my life. And I'm like, what if I'm a fucking dancer? I was saying this shit 2 years ago and I still haven't done it.
What if you are a body motion artist?
That's what I would call myself, obviously. I mean,
well, yeah, I mean, sure.
I want to make $80,000 a year as a dancer, so I got to call myself something more than a dancer.
It's got to be a little more professional sounding.
A little bit. I'll be, what was it? Body movement?
Body motion artist?
A body motion artist. I'm a BMA. I'll have that as my title. Well, dude, I can't decide who should do their ratings first, but let's rate this fucking thing.
Oh boy. Well, I think viewer, you can tell that we have 2 very differing values for this album.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore this album. I've never gotten tired of it yet. And I've listened to it for years now. I agree with Lucas that it can get repetitive. It can get samey with the riffs and the vocal catchiness.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it ventures too far out, aside from like songs like maybe White is Red or
That's about it.
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, you know, you could say maybe the last song, the closing song is pretty different for them.
Yeah, but you could definitely go into this album and think like all those songs were the same. I didn't like that at all. And like that's totally fair. But I just completely adore this album. All the riffs are super catchy. The drums are super loud. The vocals are emotive. And the vocals are catchy on every single song.
Every single song. Super catchy.
And so I love this thing. So I'm giving it like a with the faults that it has, I'm giving it like a 9.3.
Oh.
And maybe I should even rate it higher, but I'm going to stick there for now.
Listen to your heart, man. Turn on your heart light.
My heart light.
Yeah.
You know, before we started recording, I was going to give it a 9, and then out of spite, I've started to raise the score.
Like I made you angry. All right, well, Brett's got the claws out. The fucking the cat ear headphones aren't just for show.
That's right. I'm a puma.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sleek. A sexy puma.
Well, let's were you thinking like? I know you weren't so hot on the album, so you were thinking like a 9.0 or maybe like an 8.8, I guess.
9.2 or something. No, I think it's good that you rated it so high because it'll balance out for my rating, and we'll find a nice happy medium.
Yeah, right.
But there is a lot to like about this record for me. I liked the tones on the whole album are awesome. That bass guitar, I could listen to just him play by himself, and it would have been just as interesting. Which is a bit of a knock on the drummer, but super catchy. The whole album, it is for the most part a vibe that I don't usually gravitate towards, which is the more dancey rhythms. There wasn't enough punk on it, and it wasn't heavy enough for me to like it that much. In the context of like, man, I hear that guitar, I want to fucking, I want to hear some gnarly ass. That guitar sounds like Infest the Rat's Nest, his bass. Like, it sounds like I wish he had played as a guest guitarist on Infest the Rat's Nest.
Man,
so
that would have been insane.
Oh, that would have been so fucking sick.
Well, I mean, the bassist for Gizzard is so good, though.
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying I want that tone.
If Gizzard just kind of stole Death from Above's setup,
yeah,
maybe it would have been a whole thing. And
so
anyway.
Good. But anyway, we digress. I liked it. I didn't love it. And there's probably only a handful of songs that I'm going to come back and listen to again. So with that said, I'm going to give it a 5.9.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
And because I can't give it lower than a 5 just off the bassist alone.
He is I'd say he's very inventive with what he has, right?
Yeah, it's some of the most original, one of the most original executions I've heard, I think, ever.
Yeah.
So on average, it's a 7.6, which I think is pretty fair. I think that's what most people would give it.
Sure. Yeah. I don't. As I may have told you, but no, I told this to my roommate. I have no idea where Death from Above stands in the mainstream media. Like, I don't know if they're popular or if nobody knows them, honestly.
They're pretty fucking popular, man. This album, I mean, some of these songs were at like 9 million plays on Spotify.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it definitely seems like a niche band.
I think that's the thing is it could be cool for a lot of people. You could be into punk, you could be into dance music, you could be into maybe hard rock. I wouldn't say metal, but if that's like predominantly what you listen to, like one of those genres, there is probably something here that they would get into.
Or at least on the earlier albums. Or if this album is too hard for you, then you might like the later stuff.
Right. I assume they go even deeper into this sound, this dancey stuff.
Yeah, I did listen to Is for Lovers, which was was it 2021 or 2020? I'm not sure.
2021.
But yeah, they branched into a good amount of new stuff. There were a couple of songs on that record that I kind of zoned out, and I was like, who am I listening to again? I was like, oh, these guys? Oh,
yeah, Modern Guy sounds fucking weird, man.
I'm a modern guy.
You just love these guys no matter what.
Does that not sound exactly like Death from Above, though?
Yeah, for sure. You were in the band before, just like Bad Bad Not Good. We talked about that before we were recording, too.
Yeah.
The singer totally stole your vocal style, but
I mean, well, here's the thing: is that I was the guitarist for the band, right? And then they were like,
"They're like, we don't need you."
Like, no, they were like, "You." I came up with all the riffs, you see.
I came up with all the riffs, you see.
You see. And the bassist was like, I want to do those. And I was like, sorry, but I wrote them. And then they kicked me they kicked me out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
you know, but like, just another Tuesday. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's the same old song, just a different tune.
Same old song, just different. I couldn't tell you all the bands that I've gotten kicked out of. I'm sure we'll get to a couple of them.
That'll be a whole episode.
Yeah. I mean, if we're allowed to upload 3-hour episodes to Podbean, then we'll see.
We're allowed to do whatever the fuck we want, Brett. We're the Bam Margeras of podcasting. What will he do next?
And we fucking hate our dad.
Whatever the fuck I want. I'm gonna go punch my fat dad Phil.
Dude, this might be another podcast, but I was obsessed with that show.
I loved that show too. But we'll get into that later, okay? I mean, in the meantime...
Yeah, that'll be for Hymn's album that we do next week.
Which we're going to do the whole discography. That's the plan from here on out. Buddies, what did you guys think of this album? Have you listened to it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you mid like me? Are you in the middle? Let us know what you think, man. Comment on our Instagram. Leave us a comment on Instagram at EBPcast. Or Jean-Luc Guitard or Brett Hanrahan, or go to our YouTube, comment on one of those fucking videos, on those one of those things, like, subscribe, click the bell icon, whatever.
Click the bell.
Just click the bell. No one's clicked our bell yet.
Click the like, click the dislike. We just need engagement.
We need something. Leave a comment, just lambasting us, and it'll actually help us. Either way, whether you like us or not. So do that for once. And and we got some fun plans for the month of December, Brett.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited too. So the plan is that we're gonna do some year in recap episodes. And the first episode, I think, is gonna be our favorite albums.
I mean, that might be our last episode, right?
I think the last episode is going to be the awards show.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think let's do it in this order. It's going to be, the first episode is going to be our favorite songs of the year. We're going to pick, I think, like 2 or 3 each. And then the next episode is going to be our favorite albums of the year that we talked about on the podcast.
Right.
2 or 3 each also. And then the last episode is we're gonna just do an awards show. The first Nuggies awards show.
So be sure to rent your suits early.
Yep. It's a all black tux, black tie affair.
It's extremely formal.
We're gonna dress up. We're gonna film it.
Bring your best cheeses. Bring your best wines.
Your finest salamis.
Your finest tuna casseroles.
Dried cured meats. Because we're hungry.
But look, bud, before that, I think we got one more episode.
I don't think we do.
No?
No. Because we have an episode coming out on the 29th, and then this episode is coming out after that. On the 6th.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
It shows how much I know about the upload schedule.
Not everyone can, that's why you got me, bud.
Look, you need some alpha male types in your production if you're gonna get anything done.
Right, you need a lion.
In the
fucking wheatgrass for you.
You need a dragon in the booth.
A Dominican dragon.
Yes,
which used to be my wrestling name.
Yeah.
I was the Dominican dragon.
They used to call me Short Pubes.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I thought risque.
I thought it was a little... I was like, well, why does everyone else have big pubes?
Well, they didn't say small pubes. They said short.
Yeah.
So, I think you'd rather have short pubes than long pubes.
Well, they were big but short.
They were big. They were short, but they were really fat.
They were very thick.
You have thick pubes. The way I'm picturing it.
All right, thank you everyone for watching.
Oh my god, I'm picturing it.
We'll see you next week. Get ready for the month of December.
Year in recap, everyone.
The year in recap. Hope no good albums come out because we're not going to talk about it.
We're not talking about it. We might do live streams. Whatever. We'll see. But
We'll see.
Thanks for listening, buddies. Brett, thanks for forcing me to listen to this album several times.
Lucas, thank you for forcing me to be on this podcast.
You're welcome. I'll Venmo you.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Just because I've wanted that new Tesla, and you've been a little late on it.
And I owe you a lot of money.
So, you owe me a lot of money.
It's all good. I got you. I'm good for it.
And I told you that Lucas coins are not going to rise in value.
Well, that's just your opinion. I don't know. We have to end this on such a sour note, but Brett, what would you rate this episode?
I'd rate this episode a 9.8.
Oh, you bumped it up.
Well, out of spite. Yeah.
You son of a bitch. All right, well, then I'm going to do it. This is a 5.2 out of spite.
Oh, uh-oh.
From me.
Unsubscribe.
We're starting the Earfoes next episode.
Earfoes December.
Yep, it's going to be... We're just going to argue for an hour to an hour and a half.
Just going to be at each other's necks.
Well, Brett, I think this was pretty good.
You know what, Lucas? I think this was also pretty good.
Bye, buddy.
Bye, y'all.
And a 3, and a 2, and a 1.